We are distinctly different from everyone else in a very real world terms.
Da designer mi chiedo spesso cosa c'è dietro alle cose. Ho passato l'ultimo anno a raccontarvi storie di studi o designer di assoluto livello e oggi comincerò con voi un viaggio che ci porterà dentro i più grandi studi, agenzie o realtà creative. Nel dietro le quinte di graphic designer, illustratori e animatori per farvi vedere dove e come realizzano i loro progetti. Questa è Behind Creativity e oggi vi porterò da Pentagram. Per chi non conoscesse Pentagram, parliamo dello studio di design indipendente più importante e grande al mondo. Sebbene il loro studio di New York sia quello più celebre, nasce a Londra e conta altri due studi, uno ad Austin, Texas, e uno a Berlino. Ha una struttura unica nel suo genere. È gestito internamente e in modo indipendente dai 22 partner che lo compongono. Conosciuti principalmente per i loro lavori di grafica e branding, anche se ricoprono design di tutti i tipi. Sono certo che nella vostra vita almeno un lavoro fatto da loro lo avete visto tutti. Nella puntata parlerò con Jody Hudson-Powell, partner dal 2015 assieme a suo fratello Luke.
Lots of logos, none of them ours. I'm sure some of these are ours under here. We swap them around depending on who's coming in for a meeting. So like if a bank's coming in, then you put the banking ones up. If a tech client's in, then like this is one of ours.
Smart choice.
So this is for a quantum computer company that we did. So lots of logos.
City by Paula.
Paula, another thing by Paula. More logos. We always have the craziest logos, I think.
Oh.
Like normally we've got this one, mushrooms. Kind of stands out.
Is this yours?
This is ours. So it's we created a generative engine for like procedurally growing typography, just normal code, not AI, that we use to create a system that kind of grows using mycelium network, the body of the typeface, and then it does this kind of fruiting on the top, which is this kind of like this extra layer of growth. So you got stuff like that, which kind of stands out, or like this, which is one of ours as well.
Wow.
So,
even the Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce, right? So downstairs we have central staff.
Okay.
So this is where we have HR and comms and new business and IT. And then we have some of our archive. Okay. We have a massive archive, which is off it's amazing going in here.
Packaging,
you've just got like
books.
Packaging and like, this is amazing. So this is, I think, Kenneth Grange.
Oh, Kenneth Grange.
He designed the packaging.
A founder.
Yeah, one of the founders, and you can still smell them. It's like cologne from the 80s.
Okay.
Smells like the
Still
80s.
smells good.
But there's loads of amazing things in there.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful logo, right? But we don't use it as much anymore. Like
okay.
traditionally, when we had clients in, you'd pull a bunch of stuff out of the archive, but now it's all
digital.
It's all digital, right? And occasionally we bring out books and samples and stuff, but we have a chef who cooks for everyone, so everyone, the company comes down and eats together, which is really nice. More meeting rooms.
This is the laboratory.
And this is the laboratory.
So the
UEFA Cup. I mean, realistically, we do a lot of digital stuff. Okay. But we're always looking for opportunities to make stuff, print stuff, 3D print stuff. Okay. Often we get to work with other partners. So John Marshall is an industrial designer. Yeah. We did the identity for Yoto. Okay. And he did the physical kind of product. But like within that design process, he's sharing designs with us, and we're commenting. We're sharing stuff with him. So there's kind of a lot of collaboration goes on as well,
Okay.
which is super nice. We did a big exhibition, not exhibition, it was a big event for Uniqlo
Uniqlo, okay.
for their Lifewear Day. So this is the design of the environment. So we can print stuff out, we can still make mock-ups, we can still make models, and this is one of the physical interactive installations, which was this big fabric thing. We're always kind of making, kind of printing, testing.
Okay. And I've seen that you use a lot of also VR, augmented reality.
There's VR and AR and printing and.
So you are much more into that kind of process and not into analog. Like I've seen Marina Wheeler mix a lot of also analog work.
It's not that we're not into it. We do analog stuff. It's, I think, we're led by ideas, right? And the idea can lead us into something physical, or like an object, or it might be a print technique, or it might be us coding something.
Okay.
So we instinctively kind of go in different directions, I think. And
Okay.
I think traditionally myself and my brother were a lot more hands-on and played with print processes and the physicality of stuff. And then in more recent years, we probably skew more towards kind of digital.
Okay.
But that said, we're doing a big exhibition at the moment, and it's all about the physicality of the typography and the scale and the size and the weight. It really depends on the project. There's Marina's posters in the back. A holiday gift for the staff most years, where we give them a poster. Okay. So these are some of the posters that we kind of gift to the staff.
Beautiful.
We are old. So that we had a 50th party, and this used to be a big 50. Okay. And now it's a 52. Okay. 53, but I think we're probably 53 years old now. I've got no idea. Wow. Each of the teams kind of has their own kind of zone where we work, and each of the partners has a booth down the side as a little kind of private office.
Where is your team?
My team, here and here.
Okay.
Yeah. We do 3 days at the office, 2 days at home. So today's a quiet day at the office. Okay. So it's kind of pretty much just our team. Okay. And a few other people, but it's quite quiet today.
This is the design area.
This is the design area. Okay. This is where we get messy and print and cut and projects basically. Okay.
This is your desk?
Yes.
I've seen the Apple Vision Pro. Some, I think, letter.
Yeah, this is the invite for the game we made.
Okay. So you also make games?
Yeah, we made a game.
Okay.
It was like a holiday card for Pentagram, but basically an excuse to make a computer game. Okay. So we now have pentagram.games.
Oh wow. You are one of the first person that I've met that use Apple Vision Pro to design something.
I mean, I have a big whiteboard over there, and I think I'm a very spatial thinker. I like to map stuff out. I have another desk over there, and I've got 3 monitors. I can't get enough space, so I'm always drawing on. It's I'm always drawing on paper. I like that kind of spatial taxonomy, and I think very spatially. So the Vision Pro is just more space.
More space,
I can have something here and something here and something here, and I kind of enjoy that way of working. This is a tile I made. Can you see it's glowing in the dark? Yeah. So this was a more physical thing I made. Definitely my world is a mix of this and this is where I'm happy. Okay. And again.
The mix between digital and physical work is your ideal space.
That's my ideal space. Okay. Yeah. Pentagram books, the 50th books. And then Angus made this brick, which is 1,000 marks.
1,000 marks, oh.
Yeah.
I see that.
This is for eBay. I did a kind of speculative design piece for eBay about the future of their product.
Another physical works. Yeah.
Well, the idea was to distill the digital platform to be physical artifacts and imagine how these might come to life in the real world.
Also music, I see.
Music, so this is, we made some music for the game.
Okay, also for the game. IKEA? This is
IKEA
the speakers.
And teenage engineering.
So you are a fan of teenage engineering and...
I like this stuff, it's very nice. Everybody is.
Okay.
Thank you for having me here today. So, first of all, if you think back to when you became a Pentagram partner, how did you feel? What is your memory of that moment? And before that, you and your brother Luke had your own studio. So, how did your way of working change once you joined Pentagram?
We knew Marina Willer, who's a partner here, for a number of years, and she actually introduced us to Wolf Hollins, where she was a CD, and Luke and myself would go in and we would help look at their projects and try and help them kind of navigate them to a kind of more digital space, kind of look for the opportunities of kind of different ways of working. Honestly, I didn't really know much about Pentagram, to be fair, which isn't probably the right thing to say. My head's never fully been in design, in graphic design. I've kind of, and the same as Luke, I've kind of bridged world of kind of technology and kind of other kind of creative mediums. So it was an exciting opportunity, but as I started to understand more about Pentagram, about its unique structure, meet more of the partners, kind of really delve into kind of what it is in the world to do, it became super exciting, which was quite nice. I wasn't kind of instantly completely sure of what the opportunity meant. It came at a time when Luke and myself were thinking about what to do next. Luke and I had a practice called Hudson-Powell that we ran for about 10 years. And we intentionally kept it very small. It was just myself and my brother and a big desk. And we would collaborate, bring in freelancers and kind of work in a really fluid kind of way, which was great for us. It kept our overheads down. We could kind of do what we want. We could work in any which way we wanted, which suited us really well, but it meant it was very hard to scale the type of work we got because people like to come to an office with lots of people and they trusted that. Pentagram offered the opportunity for me and Luke to kind of keep our independence on our agency and really kind of grow in the way in which we wanted, whilst having the kind of the trust of the brand name and, you know, everything that brings. So it felt like a really kind of good fit for where we were in terms of kind of scaling the kind of work we got. Interaction, motion, print, technology, all of these things, and craft all played a role as being kind of one core practice, and that they weren't kind of distinctly different disciplines. So coming here was the opportunity for us to just kind of bring that way of working to kind of a larger scale of client.
Find a single thing that distinguishes Pentagram from all the other agencies.
We are distinctly different from everyone else in a very real world terms. Like if you look at our structure, we aren't the same as agencies. We're independently owned, we're partner led, and we're truly multidisciplinary, right? We're architecture, industrial design. It's really rare that you find an agency that can offer that in-house. We aren't an agency, we are a collective of individual design leaders, practitioners that run small teams that love to stay close to the work, that love to do beautifully crafted work, that's innovative and does all of the other things that agencies do, but without the structure of an agency.
So the structure is...
It's the structure, right? Like an agency, you'll be working with this constant churn and rotation of creative directors, right? Like junior design director, creative director. And that's not the model here, right? You have a partner, and when I meet a client, I'll be in the first meeting, I'll be in every meeting throughout the process, I'll be working on the design of it, and I'll be there at the end of the process. And that's not typical for an agency, that you'll have a founder of an agency who can work across all of the projects at once. It's just impossible. So I think we're different from typical agencies just because we're not. We're a collective of practitioners that care more about the work and the output and the love and the craft than running a big business. We just happen to be a big business because it works when you get that many people who love what they do into the same environment, the structure, who share the overhead, who share all of that stuff so we can kind of move together.
If you have to tell me the most difficult project you have worked on?
I think probably the last project I do. The most recent project is always the hardest. Because the bar I set myself is always going up. The environment that we operate in is always changing. You know, it's way more competitive than it used to be. And between those two things, I think I'm always striving. So whenever I'm in a project, it feels very instinctual, and I work in a very instinctual way. That kind of deep engagement does make it hard, right? And I take the work very seriously. I take the responsibility of working on a client's brand very seriously. And so, I mean, I can talk about bad clients and tricky situations, but like, that's just part of being a designer, right? Okay. You know, that's just part of the course. I think tough jobs they should feel tough, right? I think it means you're doing good work, it means you're trying, it means you care. And if you don't care, then you're not so engaged, and then maybe it's easy, but we tend to care a lot, and every project is a kind of a bit of a labor of love.
What is your creative process from start to finish?
We don't have a set way of working. Myself and Luke, we run a team, and we work across so many different sectors, right? We're doing an exhibition at the moment at a large museum. We're doing a big cultural center in Japan. We're working on AI companies in Asia and the West Coast. You know, there's not one size fits all. So we always understand the problem, and then we figure out a way of working that kind of helps solve against that. We're very ideas led. That's lots of sketchbook work. I have a whiteboard which all of the other partners laugh at, but I'm always kind of drawing and sketching, and it's big meetings with lots of people talking. And we kind of begin at a place of ideas, not mood boards, not other people's solutions. So we're always kind of trying to figure out the thing that excites us, the opportunity that we feel speaks to the problem, but also is an idea that we can get super fucking excited about for the next 4, 8 months, whatever it is, right? Because it has to be something you care about, that you really want to like spend that much of the next kind of year working on. Time's very important to me. I hate feeling like my time's being wasted. So it's kind of setting the bar quite high, that it feels like it's going to be a worthwhile like endeavor, that we feel like we can really break new ground on. Myself and Luke like to go really deep and understand the technical details to as deep a level as we can. And we're lucky that, you know, when we're working with engineers and these different kind of technologies, we get to spend time with them and really understand them. So whether it's kind of quantum compute, going up to Oxford Ionics, and really spending time with their like optics tables and understanding how traditional compute complements kind of quantum compute, and like really understanding the kind of the nuance of what they're doing. And then we try and wrap that technical knowledge into something which is way more intuitive. With Channel 4, the idea was, how can we place all of the content which happens across all of the different channels within one holistic 3-dimensional space? So to move between content is just to move between point A and point B. We create these visual taxonomies, or these spatial taxonomies, these kind of constructs, which then become intuitive ways to communicate something that's deeply technical. That's like a process, but it's just like one of the processes that we might go through.
But you choose which project to take.
We only really do inbound inquiries. We don't really go out into the world and try and get new work. So often the work, or always the work, is really coming into us. And normally they reference a partner, like people often want to work with me and Luke or Marina or whomever else. Or they might come in and say, I love GraphCore, or I love Channel 4, and then they'll find us. Occasionally a client will just be like, I just want to work with Pentagram. I don't care who it is, I just want to work with Pentagram.
In that case, you choose.
In that case, we choose. But we all share profitability within the business and stuff like that. So there's no competitive nature within the company. So normally it's who really wants to do that work, or who's most likely to win that work, or who has availability to do that work.
What is the space you love the most about the studio? The archive, the laboratory, your desk?
And probably the walk-in.
Okay.
That little moment when you come off the street.
Emotional.
And you come in, I think, because it's a little kind of microcosm, right? I mean, I suppose every company is, but we make and we read and we learn and we have archive and we can remember and we can meet and we can eat together and we can work, right? And I can work with my team, and I can work quietly by myself, and I can make music, and I can, you know, I can build. But that all happens after I've walked through this threshold, right? From what is a very normal street into what is a little kind of bubble of design.
So I really want to have this chat with you, not least because you are very aware of new technologies. So I've been following your experiments with AI, VR with pleasure. How are you integrating those technologies into your work? And how do you think this job will change or evolve in the future?
Classic question. I get asked it every week.
Yeah.
And I think it changes, right? It depends.
On the mood.
It depends on my mood. It depends on the climate and how like urgent it feels. It depends on, you know, the other things that are happening around AI. Sometimes amazing and breakthrough and like
Sometimes
good things for humanity and sometimes scary, right? And design kind of, I think people often say like, no one dies if you do a bad piece of design, which kind of isn't true, right? Because design is very important. I've always used computational processes within my design practice, right? And that's from learning to code many years ago at St. Martin's and like carrying that on, creating procedural tools and generative tools for creating visual output. So the idea of using machines as part of my process or our process has been something which is fully embedded and it's just the way we work. It feels very native and natural and I work within that environment in a very instinctual way. The way in which AI is being trained is bad, right? Lots of the tools that we currently use are offered to interact with AI models just isn't good. It's not really for us yet. Lots of the time, the models have been kind of proof points of kind of engineering prowess rather than AI for creative purposes.
Yeah.
The practice will change. I think what it means to craft will change. Hopefully creative intent is still clear. I think people will still craft and make with kind of passion. I think just the medium changes, right? And the tools change.
Yeah.
I think lots of what we do will become efficiency. As long as you have users interacting with environments, the kind of the value of that human interaction will be kind of present and required. You know, AI or computational processes have a kind of role to play in the creation of content or design. I think, yes, they do. It's new ways of working, right? And that can be amazing. You just need to reconcile like how stuff's attributed, right? How we can train models that have real kind of provenance where artists and designers aren't being ripped off, right? But what we have is an amazing technology which will evolve and it's just the beginning.
And like everything, it has pros and
It has
cons.
pros and cons, right? Like at the moment, I think it's hard for people to see the pros and it looks very scary. I think the technology, we're not really seeing the kind of the true nature of what the AI technologies can do for us.
Pentagram has 22 partners. Each of them has its own team. So how many people do you have under you and how do you coordinate them?
All of the teams are different sizes. Some people have very small teams. The structure is that our teams should never be too big. The partner is always attached to the work. So if the teams get too big, I think you just turn into any old agency. And that's not us, right? That's not why we're here. We're here to do like good, amazing design. We're here because we love the active design, so we want to be close to it. Myself and my brother run a team of about 14 people, I think. 2 project managers and 1 team assistant to help us kind of keep it running. We have motion, we have code, we have 3D, we have type design, we have designers. A real mix of people, and that's really continuing the kind of the ethos that my brother and I kind of brought to Pentagram, that we work across all mediums, and that's where we find the kind of new ground and we can create new processes and new ways of working.
What are you looking for in a designer?
What are you looking for in a designer? I mean, I wish I knew. I think it changes. Sometimes you hire people because there's a real kind of skill set need. Sometimes you hire somebody just because they're brilliant and you want like them to just be part of that mix. The main thing that I look for in a designer or anyone is that beyond the work, I can see why they turn up every day. Being a designer is a lot of work. It's hard to be a designer and just treat it like a 9-to-5 job. It's like it takes kind of deep thought, care, craft, energy, time, love, all of those things. And you kind of, regardless of the type of work they do, I want to be able to draw a line through the work and kind of go, okay, what are you here for? Why are you a designer? And how does that trajectory build into the environment that we have here? Why are you going to turn up every day? It's kind of important. And it's harder to see that, but I think sometimes you can really get that intentionality, regardless of sometimes the quality of the work or the consistency of the work, but you can get a sense of why they care.
The love for this job is more important sometimes than the skills and other stuff like
I
that.
think so, yeah, absolutely.
Does everything always go smoothly in your project, or does it happen that clients steers the project in other directions?
Every project's different. We run projects in very different ways every single time. So I think to say something goes badly or it goes well is subjective. When you see design companies that have like this strict house style,
Okay.
like you're like, oh, you love those colors, you do lots of illustrations, everything's got the same energy. That could be a great thing, right? Because everyone's just like, I want that energy. Like, or it's a house style that you just lay over every single problem. And I think Luke and myself are less strict with our stylistic kind of approach. If a client's steering something and it moves away from our aesthetic sensibility, but it makes sense for them, right? And it works for their customers or their culture or their vision of what they want their business to be. And that might move it away from where I feel comfortable, but it's a good design solution, right? Because they've come to us, they're entrusting us to do something which is purposeful and meaningful and right for them.
Okay.
And so even when work steers away from where we might feel more comfortable, it might be a great solution. I might not put it in the folio, but you know, it worked for them, and that's the most important thing, I think.
I think that one of the most important soft skills for a designer is curiosity. Do you agree with this? Or what quality do you think is necessary or at least useful for this profession?
I think it's kind of bang on there. Being curious is super important. I think when you aren't curious, you don't find new ground, you don't explore, you're not feeling your way through and trying to see what's like possible or what's like beyond the idea that's in front of you. So that kind of, I think it's that same thing. It's that definitely curiosity. It's that kind of eagerness or just that intentionality, like turning up and really pursuing an idea or a thread is kind of key, right? And that's why we always like sketch and sketchbooks, like get off the screen, like just see where the idea leads. And then let's worry about what it looks like later. Like, why are we turning up? Why is this interesting to you? And then let's figure out what it looks like. Because what it looks like kind of is often secondary to its intent or what it's trying to kind of communicate.
Have you ever experienced periods with imposter syndrome or periods where you didn't feel so good as a designer?
Every day.
Every
I mean, one, it's really hard. I mean, I am a designer and I design, and within Pentagram, everyone's looking at you to be like graphic design hero, and I don't know where I fit in within that kind of archetype. So I have a bit of imposter syndrome around that. I think myself and Luke are also, we like to keep things small. I kind of have this very like beginner mindset with everything I do. And so, and I like that space of feeling like a beginner, of asking the stupid questions. The requirement of a person like myself might be to be a leader or an expert. And so that kind of stepping into that expert, and I am an expert, right? And I have a deep knowledge and I have, and I can lead, but I creatively prefer to be in that kind of beginner mindset where I'm always curious, always exploring, right? So when I have to step into that leader role more overtly is when I'm like, ooh, I'm making this up, right? And I'm not. It's just I choose to inhabit a different kind of emotional space.
So even great designers can have bad periods.
100%.
Okay. Is there a design project of someone else's in general that you wish you had done?
God, good question. I'm not that interested in other people's solutions. Like the solution is so shaped by a process which is invisible. Okay, I know there's a guy I know, Keita. He made a game called Nobby Nobby Boy.
Okay.
On the PlayStation.
Okay.
And there's this beautiful interaction where you're controlling this like snake-like creature as it kind of goes around the world eating things, and you control its butt and its head with the two different controllers.
Okay.
And it's beautiful.
So again,
I wish I'd made that.
Okay.
I wish I was as good as him and I made that.
Okay.
There we go.
do you believe in talent, or do you think hard work is more important?
I think you need both, right? And it depends why you're turning up and what you want. And I think life isn't black and white. I think we all live in this kind of noise field. You probably can't have one without the other, right? Like you can be great talent, but not willing to turn up or work or care enough about your practice to like, or you might work really, really hard, but you're not doing it with enough intent, right? It's not pointed in the right direction. These two things complement each other.
I'm Italian, so is there or was there an Italian designer that you appreciate?
Oh shit. Oh my God. I know nothing about the world of design, and this is really it. Like I'm not a designer's designer.
Okay,
At all. And you putting me on the spot has completely made me draw a blank.
maybe.
I have an Italian friend I went to college with called Nicola.
Okay.
And we did lots of beautiful work together, and he's an amazing illustrator and made lots of nice, crazy noise music. I love his work.
Okay, last question. If you had to give a single piece of advice to new designers in general, what would it be?
I think I touched on it already, right? Like, being a designer isn't easy. Like, there are better ways to make money properly, probably. There are easier outlets for your creativity, probably. It fits in this kind of weird space between kind of service and kind of expression, right? And that could be really tough for people. And I think being cognizant of why you're turning up, what you want, like there's a value proposition there, right? You're turning up to do the work. To do your best work, you need to be really engaged, right? And so what do I want to get from this work? Like, how am I going to be additive to this process is really important, because like every time I get a designer who just fucking excels, it's really clear the passion that they're bringing and the reason why they turn up. And they don't turn up just to like do the work. They turn up because they're going to learn a little bit more. Every day they're learning a bit more. They're getting a step further. So I think understanding or like trying to acknowledge what kind of journey do I want to be on? And it's not about discipline, right? It might be to become a better designer and I want to do this, or I might want to become a better animator. Like, is that what excites me? Like, what part of the practice excites you? And like keeping that in mind, I think is really important, because that helps mean that you get a bit from turning up every day, and the work will be better for you kind of being that much more engaged.
Questo era il primo episodio di Behind Creativity. È stato un onore entrare dentro gli uffici di Pentagram, ma le sorprese saranno ancora molte, quindi restate sintonizzati, seguitemi su Instagram e alla prossima.